It has been over 4 years since we received the mining game loop in Star Citizen. And if you were to ask the average long-term player if we've gotten any major professional additions since then, it'd be a mixture of, no, kinda. There haven't really been any major professions added to the game in a while, but 2022 is looking like it might be different. And despite a lot of the worries about bigger ticket items this year, that's looking like a good year for gameplay. And in this fourth exclusive video of 2022, I'd like to show you what kind of gameplay we have coming to us, why we're making this return to form, and what it means for you. Thank you for supporting my Tomato Talks. In 3.2 back in 2018, planetary mining was introduced with the inclusion of the Prospector. It was a simple addition that made a world of difference to the game. This was the first profession that allowed you to really feel like you were doing something in the game. Mining was an expansion of what Star Citizen stood for. It was not just a combat space game with some activities anymore, it had diversity that put it in contention with other heavyweights, and reminded players that there's more in store. The players just didn't know how long they'd have to wait. And the gravity of this mining edition didn't stop with 3.2. In the next update, mining was added to asteroids in space, and the UI and functionality saw some improvements. And over the course of 4 years, several minor and major updates made mining much better. The player payment system made it easier to share jobs. The various UI reworks made information easier to see. New materials made for more diverse trips and better profits. Refining added a new choice in how you wanted to tackle your jobs. Scanning improvements made it easier to locate the rocks, and the addition of FPS mining expanded the profession even more. And this isn't to exclude the addition of subcomponents and consumables and gadgets, and the Mole larger-sized multi-crew mining ship. All of these additions were added throughout the years to help diversify the profession and make it more interesting to more people. Mining has long been the alternative gameplay for most players when considering between cargo and combat, and remains the only major profession that uses standard in-game mechanics. But without a pivotal change coming to this profession and not much upkeep in the background, it's become a little old and stagnant. And without the new professions coming in that keep getting delayed, it's also become a little bit lonely. During CitizenCon 2016, Chris Roberts did a Chris Roberts thing and presented a roadmap that was so wildly off base, I still almost fall out of my chair looking at it now. No! This was the first of many attempts to schedule salvaging for completion that came and went without much explanation. It tells a story of CIG struggling to figure out how these professions will be built in the future, and maybe jumping the gun a bit on the bare minimums. Players already know that mining can be kind of a pain due to the dependence on a bunch of rocks all over the game that need to be reliably spawned, scanned, broken, and then collected by any combination of players and mining ships. This calls for a lot of changing data and item persistent management, but it also means that whatever that gameplay feature is going to be, it needs to be pretty much set in stone at that first iteration. While CIG was not saying this, whether because they had not figured it out or were just too ambitious, Salvage was seemingly not going to work without a stronger foundation on the back end or the game features side. It's a game element that will depend on many different aspects of the game. Components, the heat system, tractor beams, the cutting tool, damage shaders, the ability to remove and add the metal on ships, it's a lot. At this point, I can't really speak towards why it was expected that this would be ready in 2017, 2018, 2019, or 2020, but Salvage has continually been pushed back on the roadmap, disappointing players to no end. Things changed in 2020 though, and we started to see little signs of work being done here and there, with some updates in ISC/SCL in the monthly reports lately. Despite the recent delay, it's looking like hull scraping might make it this year. But why now? Well, all those delays and those requirements that we discussed tell us something important about what is happening now. In April of 2021, we were treated to a 20-minute question and answer about refuel and repair, two key components in a majority of industry ships, and big topics for new gameplay. Almost a year before that, we also got a 19-minute question and answer about salvage. Last spring was also the first time we started seeing dedicated tools for these gameplay mechanics. And 2 Octobers ago, we got to hear about resource management, which was actually delayed by 6 months, information we learned in the summer of 2021. There are more signs of substantial work being done, but we'll get to that. The important point here is the timing. In recent years, we've seen the addition and improvements of a lot of things. Long-term persistence, a full inventory system, improved item spawning and interaction, docking, a viable UI creation system, object push and pull, new derelicts, just a whole bunch of stuff. And all of these features are related in some way to these gameplay mechanics, including salvage. But those features aren't the real kicker. With the grand scale that Star Citizen encompasses, we're talking about thousands of resources to make these systems work. And all of these entities need to be tracked, spawned in and out, and dynamically affected by any of thousands of players or NPCs. If anybody's played Star Citizen recently, you would think this was impossible. Server meshing is a big feature that has been a major milestone for Star Citizen ever since the launch of 3.0. It's not the end-all cure to our problems, but it may possibly be one of the main reasons these gameplay elements have been so low priority. It aims to split the load of a single area among multiple servers to lessen the performance impact. While they likely could have worked without server meshing, it could be the case that this would only be sustainable for a few quarters. Without server meshing and the ability to spread this load around, they might have held the features and their resources back in order to make sure the game didn't become unplayable. We've already seen things like this in the removal of Delamar and the complete disappearance of new mission givers. This is an important point that ultimately won't be proven until the gameplay elements are actually in the game and server meshing is able to have some effect. And even if there is no noticeable change between with and without server meshing and having these features, I do believe that these gameplay elements were held back by server meshing and a long list of supporting features that we've been seeing added to the game recently. While the developers may have wanted to develop these systems of gameplay earlier on, it may have called for many changes while also lowering performance. And that time may have helped the ideas and technology better develop anyways. It's going to be interesting to see how features like cutting, refining, and resource management on the ships differ from mining given how much time they've been given. But what else do we have to possibly look forward to in the next year? Allow me. Resource management is not often thought about due to it having no flashy bits presented to us just yet, and not being mentioned except for a few key recent moments. But it is very important to basically every single multi-crew job on the ship. While the job primarily revolves around engineering and keeping the ship running, this will affect the heat of components, the CPU in your flight computer, or the power in your turret. This system packs into other systems like power, fuel, ammo, flight control, fire suppression, life support, and others. It's the center of ship gameplay, due to completely redefine how we use every ship in the game, and it's seeing some pretty good progress. On the progress tracker, we can see that it's about halfway through its 105 scheduled weeks of work, but this is sure to change and might possibly be inaccurate. So maybe not within the year, but we will definitely be hearing more about this pretty soon. Refueling is the most recognizable of this bunch, being a feature planned for 3.17 in April. This feature will be incredibly important for the upcoming Pyro system, which is much larger and more scarcely populated than Stanton. It will also be a useful feature for bounty hunters and explorers who don't want to return to a space station for fuel. I do worry about the method of receiving service, which is just calling out in global chat, but I'm glad to see such an integral feature finally reaching our hands, in whatever limited way. Being heavily dependent on docking in UI, it does make sense that this feature took a while to reach us. Back in August, when learning about refuel and repair, we were informed that salvage was a bit behind refueling in the development process, so you can imagine what may come next. Salvage and repair, at least as far as the hull is concerned, are opposites of each other. With salvage, we get repair. As we take material off ship hulls, we can put it on. You also will be able to buy canisters full of ship material to be the de facto ship repair person. And if you're really desperate, you'll have the choice of stripping the ship hull from derelicts to lightly repair your own vehicle. On the other hand, we don't actually have that many details about salvage. We don't know what ships will be able to have their hulls scraped, how this stuff will be transported, or what depth goes into this first iteration outside of these small details. There are a lot of questions surrounding this segment of gameplay, from all the delays to what's next. You can expect to definitely hear more about this in the next quarter. Hacking is not something that comes to mind when we think of gameplay, but of all the things on this list, it may be one of the most common. Hacking will be important to most players in certain instances, and has been quite elusive in visuals. We don't know much about it other than its changing iterations, a look at the tool itself, and the amount of people working on the feature. While it's not guaranteed this feature will be added into the game this year, I do believe we will definitely see substantial updates on it as well. Finally, the cargo refactor, which had originally been expected towards the end of last year, is scheduled to complete initial implementation this year. While not a direct style of gameplay, it is a sweeping change that will add new gameplay to everything from cargo hauling to cleaning up the remains of your enemy. We don't have many specifics on this one either, but I'll be sure to keep you up to date throughout the year on all of these new features being developed. There could be hundreds of reasons for our waiting so long to see a committed push in gameplay development in Star Citizen. The fact of the matter is we will never know the whole story. But we're in Phase 4 of development, and while there is still turbulence, many things are continuing to come together. Not all blockers are gone, but the light at the end of the tunnel is visible considering gameplay loops. And I think many will be surprised at how diverse gameplay ends up being by 2023, assuming we have no major delays. Never before have we seen so much talk and detail about these game loops, and as I always say, the monthly report is the pulse of the development of Star Citizen. With VFX, features, tools, and UI teams working actively on these features, I've never been more expectant. This is a lot of optimism in a small amount of time, I will say that much. But as I've stated in this video, I think there's good reason to be excited about these new gameplay elements. And with the amount of players who are a little disenfranchised with other parts of the game, this couldn't have come at a better time. Here's to the triumphant return of game loops. And thank you all for watching this 4th exclusive video of 2022. I hope you've been enjoying the topics and the presentation style, and I'm always looking for feedback on this on the Discord or in the video comments. Regardless, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.